Hey guys, I'm probably gonna change the music back to the first thing because if I do this, I can actually time how long I'm on. It takes about 40 minutes for the whole playlist to play, so I can actually keep an idea of how much is passing by while I'm on. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm lettering Real Comic Showcase number 3, the pages that I did so far. And my computer's moving like a beast. So this was Real Comic Showcase number 2, the inside lettering. What I did for here is I actually put the title of the book and information about the book like right there because I didn't have a splash page to work with until much later in the book, about probably page 17 or page 18. And that's way too long to wait to get it to a splash page to do what you want to do with it. So I put the title of the book on the inside cover here. When I did Real Comic Showcase number 3, the third page is a modified splash page with panels in it. So you get to see that I put the information for the book right there. So that's pretty much what I did. So I actually have it set up that way. So what I'm probably going to do today is like simple tutorials on how to do things like this. Text. Text, bubbles, and other stuff like that. So just going to give you an idea how you can do text bubbles, how to do these pop-out text bubbles, which is like one of the things I like doing a lot. And you can do with also with balloon call outs like this. If a person is screaming, it can actually overtake the balloon or make it pop out. I think I've done this before, but I'm going to probably do it again. I'm probably going to post it on my YouTube channel too. If you look in the description inside this video, there's going to be a YouTube link. There's a Patreon link. There's an Instagram link. I'm not as good as posting on Instagram as I should be, but it's there. Every once in a while, I post 1 or 2 things onto Instagram. I post most of my stuff either in Facebook. Yeah, that's where I do most of my posting. I'm not a big Instagram person. I don't show a lot of this stuff that I'm doing because this is actual comic book I'm working on. So this part of the story, I'm basically setting it up right now. The only reason I'm showing like this section of the page anyway is because I want to give you an idea how you can create balloons like that if you're lettering. Lettering is another thing that I do. So to actually kind of make stuff look pretty decent. This is all my artwork. I can even show you an idea of what I'm doing to generate pages. I do a lot of referencing from other comic books, sort of like Alan Davis's The Nail and Another Nail. So a lot of the poses that you're seeing, like the characters are in, instead of trying to figure out how I'm going to put the character in a perfect pose or what angles that I want to do it. This character, General Grievous, when he was originally drawn, he wasn't as imposing or as large as I decided to redesign him into. And when I was looking at the character, because of the powers he has and the things that he did, he reminded me a lot of Thanos and a lot of Darkseid. So when I'm using Real Comic Show, when I'm using the nail, there's a lot of Darkseid shots in there. So a lot of General Grievous's body position or his body is usually Darkseid. Another character that's kind of pretty impressive in size is Amazo. So in page 2 of that, even though this is actually the top panel is Amazo, the second panel is Amazo, third panel is Darkseid, but panel 1, panel 4, panel 5, panel 6, panel 7. That's all from my head. So, like I said, and even the first panel, what's kind of cool is because because I'm getting references or I'm seeing things from these different comic books, it gives you kind of an idea of how to set up some shots or put some shots together. And then when you want to do your own shots, you have a better idea of like where you're going with it. Things to find out when you're drawing comic books, you want a lot of nice close-up shots, headshots, to make things a lot easier to transfer. So the rule is every panel I'm trying to draw, there's going to be at least one full body shot in the panel. I try to do that in most cases. I don't think I hit that exactly on 3, but the closest person to having a full body shot is Grievous, and maybe you could even say Dr. Faded and Dr. Boris Lancelot. They're closest to full body. Even this shot of the gate, this character right here, in the comic book, this is all I had to work with. I had about this much of his dark side. I actually used dark side over here too, because the position dark side had was really cool. I like the pose that he was in. In the comic, I think this is all I had to work with. What I referenced, this is what I drew. So all of this is extra. Like that wasn't in the book. Even the backgrounds, like I found a way to do backgrounds a lot faster. I'm not really worried about them anymore. I use real pictures. I use sets from movies, and then I modify them to fit what I'm trying to draw or what I want to do. So I stopped trying to draw everything from my head. I will actually reference a real picture to do a background because it's so much faster. And it's faster than trying to figure out how am I going to put perspective lines. You have digital, it's the digital age, you got tools. You could actually sit down and do it the hard way. So I don't. It's very similar to what they used to do in the back in the days when they used to do when they used to do Rex they used to do photocopies of pictures and then use them as a background. A lot of I believe Neil Adams did that. It's not Neil Adams. I believe so. I don't remember who was drawing Green Arrow and Green Lantern and Green Arrow, but that artist, he did it. I think it's Neil Adams. I'm not sure. So real quick thing. So you can see the concept of lettering. I'm trying to get everything in a triangle or in a diamond. Top is large, top is small, bottom is small. The middles are the largest. When I can't hit a perfect diamond, I try to go for an inverted triangle. Top is the largest and the bottom is the smallest. That's when I can't hit diamonds. I go for those. And same thing. Everything is always going towards the triangle. And then when I do the pop outs or the call outs for things that are really impressive. So these are some of the things that I actually do with it too. So what we're going to do is, how do you create balloons like this, or how do you create bubbles that are word shaped? So we're going to work on something like that. I'm going to do a new document. So my comic book pages are 7 inches by 10.5 inches. Width is 7, height is 10.5. And then once I choose that, I have my panel that's basically set up. What's my sound? Let me just see. Sound. So I'm going to try to keep the volume up. All right. So the key thing is, once you have that set up, I could actually bring in the panel. I could actually bring them even just plain artwork and do it, but I'm just going to use this. I'm not going to really waste my time with fonts and stuff like that, or even real dialogue. I'm just going to do some easy ones. Like, I created a library. Every time I start creating fonts, I actually have the word die. I actually have to bring it in. As you can see, these are my sound effects that I've used before. So I tend to have a tendency of using these a lot. And then when something doesn't exist, I'll regenerate a new one. I have some in word balloons, and then this is my sound effects one. So these are all the sound effects I've used when doing something. And what I just do is I keep adding more and more and more. So what's going to start happening is when I need a sound effect, I don't have to generate it from scratch. I can actually just bring it in Speaking of which, I want to get die. So I'm going to go to Word, and I'm just going to hit plus, and die is now one of the sound effects that I have. I wonder if I brought in, yeah, U is another cool one I came up with. That was when I was working on Micha, which I have to get back to that. I have a lot of motion comic stuff I'm going to try to be putting together too. I have 2 motion comics in the works. I actually have the Rush Parallel one done. I haven't composited it and added music to it yet, and I have to do the Blue Jay and the Rush #1 also. I'm gonna try to probably start selling my Blue Jay and the Rush Rush Parallels #1 on my own. Probably just do it through PayPal. If somebody wants the book, they can contact me, because I've been waiting on Indie Planet. It's going on over 8 weeks now. Still hasn't. It's supposed to be in the queue. It still hasn't shown up anywhere in the store. So I can't sell it through that. I'm probably gonna just sell it manually. I'm gonna look if I still have my Square store, and probably sell it from there, or just have people contact me. What I'm usually doing is, if you buy the actual physical copy of the book, I'm usually willing to sell, they really send you the digital copy also, so you can actually read it early and can get the physical book too, so you have both ways of reading it. So that's one of the things I was thinking about doing. But yeah, so I just added die. So what we're gonna do is go back. I'm gonna start closing some of these up because I think it's taking a lot of memory. Oh heck yeah, wait, that one cancel. I want to keep that one open. I can close that one. We'll save. I can close 00. I can close inside cover. I can close 3. I can close 2. The thing I've been noticing too is the more I've been coloring, I've been creating a much more style that I'm comfortable with. I tend to color really bright, and one of the problems I have is sometimes it's too bright in my opinion. So what I've been doing is I apply screens on top of it. The screen will dull the color and then dull the brightness, and then if there's too much darkness, it'll also brighten up the darkness so you can actually see the better. So it looks a little faded. It's sort of like what you do in Instagram when you add a filter. But I like to do that with my stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some text. So the font that I use when I create text is Digital Script that I got from Blambot. Right now I realize I don't have to make my text gigantic, so my text is like 6 or 7 points because of the page size that I use. So if I wanted to do some kind of text, I'm just going to say this is test and the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. I think that hits every letter of the alphabet. I'm gonna move this into black. I put it a little bit closer just to give you an idea. So this is what I kind of try to do when I'm lettering. So this is the phrase that I want to put inside. First thing you're gonna do is when you pick your text, you're gonna center everything. So that's centered. So let's say this is the one I want. I think this is a double space here. That's close, but I can actually push it a little bit more. Let me see what happens if I put lazy and dog on the same one. Yeah, I would probably try to push it to here. In reality, even though they show you it's a diamond that you're working with, you're also trying to go for a circle. So everything that I use, a few years back, one guy told me you shouldn't use ovals to do your lettering, you should use rounded squares. That's preference. It has nothing to do with reality. If you rather use ovals, use ovals. If you want to use squares, use squares. You want to use rounded squares, octagons, circles, whatever you think is what you need to do what makes you comfortable. Stylistically, the reason I started going back to ovals, this was something that Vince White, who I learned a lot of lettering by looking at the books that he did. He's kind of the guy I model a lot of my lettering after, but you'll develop your own style also. What I basically do is I work on 3 layers when I letter. One is the word layer. The other one is a layer I call knockout. And I'll show you how knockouts work, why I have a knockout layer all the time. It's important when you want to create callouts, like words that are breaking through the balloon. So that's why you need that layer. It's also, if you want to open up a balloon to the gutter of a page, you also need that layer. And the last layer that I usually have in mine, which is under knockout, it's a layer called balloons. And this is where you're going to put the balloons for the lettering on it. So these are the 3 layers I personally use. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a quick gutter. And what is a gutter? Gutter basically is the outside of the box or of the panel. How do I do that? So I'll create another layer that I use a lot. This is basically my guide layer, or the Blambot guide that the Kablam guide that I use. I have another pre-saved section called templates. You'll see there's a template for a single page and a double page. I'm not sure why I have these 2 in here, but they're there. So what I usually do is on the guide layer, I drop this template in here. The funny thing is, if you notice, this is where I get the 7 inches, 10 inches high, 7 inches wide, 10 inches high. It's literally this template. That's the exact same size. What I just do is, for some bizarre reason, this came out as a JPEG instead of a PNG that it like it normally is. So I just reduced the opacity. So the opacity is dropped down to about 40–50%. I'm going to lock it because this one I never want to change. I don't really want to draw on it either. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the gutter. And the gutters are pretty easy. And I'm going to create this layer and call it gutter too. So these are like the 5 layers that are like kind of important to me. Sometimes I do embellishments or fixes. I usually do my fixes on the knockout layer too. So let's say a character's eyes were supposed to be white, or something is miscolored, or something has to change. Sometimes I do it on that knockout layer. I'll create another layer to do it on. So first thing you do is on the gutter layer, I want to create this outside border. If you notice the margin area, there's an area that's yellow. If you draw within that yellow area on a comic book page, it should still show up when it's printed. If you draw within the red part of that comic book page, that trim line, there's a chance that it may not show up. It might, but there's also a chance that it also may not. So that's where whenever I draw or whenever I'm pushing things to the most extreme, I try to make sure I stay within the yellow line, never past that yellow. So when I'm building in comic book pages, I will build the borders of the comic book page based on the yellow margin and not the red, because I want to make sure I can actually get that in. So you drop that first gutter one. I'm going to reduce gutter also down by a certain percentage, just like 83. The reason is, actually it doesn't matter now because I have the guide on top. No, yeah, one or too many. Redo rectangle 1, and then what I'm just going to do is going to redo the second rectangle on top. I don't have to be careful because you have the lines and you can see them because they're sitting on top of there. And if your stuff does not align perfectly, the reason I do everything in a vector-based program. So if you wonder what is a vector-based program, there's Photoshop where it's you literally drawing everything and it's painted lines and everything. You can't really adjust it or change it too much. So when you have a vector-based program, you notice that all of these points that are here, I can manipulate the points one by one. I can actually move it. The lines are straighter. Everything is just more concise. Same reason why when I want to do balloons, I have ellipses. I have all my different shapes. It's the easiest way to do it. So I would recommend anybody who's doing lettering, if you can't get graphics, Autodesk Graphics like I use on my Mac and on my iPad, there's also Infinity Designer. Infinity Designer is the graphics, is the Illustrator type program for if you don't want to pay that Adobe fee where you're paying 10 to 15 or 10 to $20 a month for a program. Infinity Designer is the one of the top of the line ones that I think you could use for anywhere between $50 to $70, and it's a one-time fee, and you get your updates for life. So I would go Affinity Designer if you don't want to continuously keep paying the Adobe fee. I personally do not. So I stopped using that. Same thing, if you don't want to use Photoshop, there's a really cool program, Infinity Create, called Infinity Photo. Yeah, Photoshop equivalent. Save your money there. Pay again the 50 to 70 bucks. You don't have to pay online fee. So that's what I would suggest. But when you letter, these are the programs you can use. Inkscape, it's not as easy to use as I remember, but it's free. If you want to do another program, like I said, Infinity Designer, it's paid for, but it's a really high quality one. Graphics is like about $30, so that's a really good program you can use too, but that's Mac based. The iPad version is like $9 or $10, which is still, I think, really worth it. Infinity on the iPad is $20. Infinity on the Mac is between $50 to $70. I don't remember if there was a deal or something. I bought it cheaper, but that's why I say it's between 50 to 70. But like I said, it's well worth it. I would go that way if you want to work with a program that is vector based, but you have to pay a little bit for, but it's not too expensive. So the next thing I do is, the cool thing about this is there's something called path tools. So I took one rectangle, put it on top of a rectangle. If I want to create that border that I was talking about, all I have to do now is just do subtract. And if you're going, what did I just do? You really can't see anything. So I'm going to add in one extra layer. Yeah, balloons, balloon. That's a double L there. So this is balloons. And I'm going to move this one down here. So this is just going to be, something I call background. And the only reason I'm throwing a background on it is just so you can see the color differences. Because if I don't, you won't be able to tell there's a border there. So we're going to do background. And background is going to be, take the same tool again. I'm just going to draw here. And I'm just going to change the fill color. So I'm going to change the fill color to a nice pale blue. Okie dokie. Let's get that out of the way. So you can see my gutter now. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to go back to gutter. I'm just going to make gutters that I want. I want to give it an outline. I give the outline of about 1.2. I can do an outline of 2. So that's a line of 2, or I can do an outline of 1.25, which is what I now use for most of my balloons. So let's say there was a white panel up here. And because I don't like wasting time, so I just do Control C, Control V. Whoops. This will be V, Command C, Command V. So let's say there's a white panel here. Let's say there's a panel here. It's going to be broken in half. So I can do Control Command V again. I'm going to use this tool right here for rotation, and I'm going to hold the Shift key, and I'm going to rotate. And you can see that it's actually rotating in 15-degree increments. That's why I'm holding the Shift key. All right, so now I'm going to move this up here. Ooh, I got to leave it to him. V. I'm gonna move this bad boy up here. So let's say this is what's gonna happen to the panel. So splitting it perfectly down the middle. One panel is gonna be a little bit larger than the other. I'm gonna move this one over slightly. Let me make this a little taller. All right, and I'm gonna add in a control command V again. The reason you hear me say control a lot is I used to use Windows damn near forever. There's a control key on the Mac keyboard, but I have the tendency to call command control because control is what you use in the Windows machines more. So let's say these were the panel breakouts. Yeah, we have that. And let's say just for craziness again, C control V, command V, we split this one in half. So there's going to be another split down here. So what happens is, so this is what you see. But now I want this to be one gutter. These are going to be where the pictures are going to be and the panels are going to work that way. So this is all you have to do now is you select every single one of these shapes. And now we're going to make them one unified shape. I'm going to combine the paths and I'm going to use a union. So now comic book gutters are done. That's pretty much how fast you can do them. What I do is I do very rough borders when I draw, and then I bring them back into a program like Graphics, retighten the borders. I usually sometimes will letter my rough drawings and then create my borders and then export the border out and then paste it back on top of the drawing. And then I know what I'm going to see and what I'm not going to see. So it makes it a little easier and I know where my letters are going to be too later. So I'm just going to make this, instead of so wide, I'm just going to make it close to the gutter too, just so it's not bleeding out. So the whole idea of what I'm just trying to show you here is just so when you can see the text, you can see the text, you can see the gutter. I'm going to show you one of those things I call like when you open the balloon into the gutter. There's two ways you can deal with it. You could either cut the top of the balloon off, but if it looks too close or it makes it look too cramped, you can open it up. So first line we have, we'll go back to words. Did I put it in? It's not in that. I put it in knockout. What a doofus. All right, so we're just gonna do Control C, or we'll do Command X, get rid of it. And then we'll just do Shift Command V, and paste it back into position. So this is my first one. Well, this is like the words don't even truly matter either. It's more of a spacing issue that I just wanted to show you. So words are not as important. So you can have one character says all of this. I can control C, control V this. I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller. And this is another trick that we do. This is something I learned from Vince also. If I put an exclamation point, I don't even know what this I is. It doesn't matter. And I can actually split this. This is funny. Because there's an exclamation point here, and this makes your text look kind of more interesting. Instead of just using regular, I bold it. Let's see what happens. Yeah, so I would change it to look like this. The great brown fox jumped. All right, so we're just saying like this is a conversation. So the way balloons work, you would think about when you're actually drawing. When I draw, I'm actually thinking about the dialogue that I'm going to be putting on the page. How am I going to be positioning the dialogue on the page? So I sometimes will draw quick circles to delineate where the word balloons are going to be. So I would be able to draw the characters. The way the font works is when you're reading a comic book, you read from top to bottom, left to right. So you basically do top left is the first thing that the person's going to say. Next person is going to answer here. And if you're going to do another piece of conversation, let's say it's one character doing all of that talking, or two characters having a conversation back and forth, and you want this guy to say something, this guy to answer, and this guy's going to answer him back. Let's just take the same font again, Control V. This guy answers him back again. And then let's say this guy says one more thing. This guy says one more thing under here. So I'm going to show you how I can actually get all the balloons to connect to each other. And I'm going to put some on the background image. I'm going to put some squares and some objects to represent the characters that are speaking. So this is the head of that character, and this is his body. Just so you have a representation of what's going on. So this is this guy talking. And then what we'll do is I wonder why is it black on the inside? I'll just pick a color. Oh, that's just weird. You think it'd change? Well, beggars can't be choosers. So this guy went black and red. So black and red guy is talking. I don't want to waste too much time, so I'm going to do Control C, Control V instead of a black and red guy. And this is the other guy talking. I'm going to make him, just change his color to green. So that's black and green. So these are the two guys having the conversation, just to give you an idea of like positioning of characters and their balloons. So since I have the guy sitting here, I don't want the balloon to be over his head. So what I'm going to do to make you be able to follow that with me is I'm going to then start going for balloons. Balloons, what I usually use is black and white in most cases. If you want to be fancy, let's say the guy has a very special or distinct voice, like his voice might be deeper or it's craggly or something like that, you can also add a color to the balloon too. So I can make black and red's balloons easier to follow by making them have a slight red tint to them, which is one of the ways I actually do something like that. So I'm gonna mess around with the color of his stuff too, just a little bit. So there's a slight red tint to everything he says. I can also do that with the text of his words too, if I wanted. So we're gonna go back to here. I'm in the balloon layer, and what I'm doing now is I'm gonna add 1.5 around it. So that's the balloon. I'm gonna scroll over, let's get a little bit bigger. So that's 40 minutes already, folks, or close to. One more song and we're at 40 minutes. You notice that it's very circular. That's another thing you're trying to go for. You're really trying to make them as round as possible. Ovals to circles. So that's really what you want. Like if you can square up your text when you're doing it, that's actually really good. Since it's pretty much the same thing over here. Whoops, Control C. Go back to my balloon, Control C, Control V. Same text. I'm not really going to try to make a whole brand new balloon. So that's that. And then we're gonna make this dude just a normal person. And I'll show you what you can do with the text. So you can tint the text. You can do a lot of different things with it. So what we do here is we're just gonna create this balloon here. And I'm gonna show you something about like when you're doing your, I used to do my the arrows or the carrots for the character speaking. I used to do them a very hard way, and then I just found out a really fast way to do it. So lettering doesn't seem as hard as it used to be. I can do the connections or the way the character's speaking real fast. So what I use now is, now I have the balloon set up for the two characters talking. Now I want to connect what they're saying. So what I usually do now is I use the arc tool, which is really cool. You do one arc and you do another arc, right? Same thing with this guy. I'm going to do an arc here and I'm going to do an arc there. Yeah, if the arcs don't come out as perfect as they want, I can do this. And the tool that I just used here is a tool called the path selection tool. So when you pick the path selection tool, this is what it looks like. If I use the normal selection tool, this is what it looks like. I can increase the size perfectly and uniformly of the whole object. Path selection tool, I can manipulate the dots themselves that create the stuff. I can mess around with the curves. It's really powerful too. If sometimes you need to outline something, it helps. That helps a lot. Between that, the pen and that tool, you can do a lot of work in what you're trying to do. So one of the tricks I realized is when you have a character speaking, and this is not the this is the last this is the first thing he said versus the last thing he says. If you notice the way the arcs look, the arc actually looks like it's big here and it tapers and gets smaller as it points to the character. The tail looks like that. It's called a tail. I usually do the same thing in my connecting balloons. Bigger here gets smaller as it moves over because that's where I want your eyes to go. So it's just a simple trick, but it means something too. Okie dokie. That one's open that way. And I can actually do exactly that. So I'm going to do this for now. The next thing I'm going to do is I want to get this one connected. Same concept. We should do it from here. So there's two arcs there. So you're going to be like, wait, those arcs. So how do I get it to create like that carrot look or the tail look that I want? So I select them. I join the paths. Now I have a completely connected tail. Funny thing is, you're just like, wait a second, it looks a little bit curved. So what I usually use, I use this tool here. I believe this is a transform tool. Let me hit, move over again. Oh, anchor, convert anchor tool. What happens is it can make an anchor a straight point or a curved point. Right now, when they're joined together, they're curved. I change it to a straight point, and you see it looks more like a comic book tail. So once I do that, I can then manipulate the angle that it's coming out at. I can bring it up, I can bring it down, I can twist it. So I say like it's coming out from this guy's mouth. I move up a little. What's cool about this, the reason I don't have to apply a fill, now if I select these two pieces together and I hit union, it automatically fills it. That was something I learned, which is actually kind of nice. Before I used to draw full, completely enclosed things with the pen tool, doing a bunch of crazy stuff. This is so much faster. I love that a lot. So this is what you see. Most of the stuff that I do is done with now. So we want to connect this balloon too. Same concept. I just select these two together. I join them. And it joins at the point that's closest together. I can extend this out a little bit. Move that here. Same concept. And it's usually better with the normal selection tool. But same thing, you union again. Now we have that two connected. Then the next one again, your union again. There you are. So now that bubble is pretty much finished. He's ready to say what he's going to say. This guy, same thing we do again. We select them. We join. I do this. I clear that up. Make it a little bit more straightforward. Select, select. Union. Same thing again. Select, select. Whoops. Select, select. Join. Now, because this is so fucking here, I'm gonna pull. Come on, man. All right, what we're gonna do? Make Control Z. I think I know what I forgot to do. Same thing I always do. You gotta. There you go. Now I can actually widen this up a bit. So that's pretty much it. So that's the two characters talking. So you just set up that, and this is pretty much, you kind of figure it out. This guy speaks, that guy's gonna speak. He speaks after, you speak again. So it's going left to right, and you flowing that way. So let's get these two guys again, and let's move red down. Control C. Oh, Command V, Command C. Let's make this guy a little bit bigger. It's like a close-up shot of him. Now let's say, go back to words. He's saying something, but it's pretty big, and it's gonna be coming over to this section right here, right? So let's just copy his words again. Control V. And he's gonna say what he's gonna say. We're gonna make his text a little bit longer. We're just gonna duplicate the text a couple of times. Here's my rule though. 2 sentences per word balloon, because it gets kind of, to me, it gets kind of unruly. Control V. And let me show you what I mean by 2 sentences. It's my personal choice. It's not something that anybody has to do. I just think it's easier to read, and it breaks down a little bit better when it's 2 sentences followed by 2 sentences. And to me, this is a sentence. So this is how I break this up too. So let's just do exclamation point. I'm gonna bold here. I'm gonna copy the word. Test, whatever that says, and I do Control V. To me, that exclamation with one word is kind of another sentence. So I would actually break the last test apart from it, so you wouldn't have the same thing. And then what I want to do is I want to show you guys that call out stuff I was talking about. I'm going to use one of my more favorite texts, you. I'm going to use that instead. So I've got a template, go to sound effects, you. I'm going to use it. So I'm going to have you in between these two sets of words. The reason I'm showing you this is I want to connect. I want to show you how you create a connection between 3 separate balloons. You know what? It's not going to be the... It can be the red guy. So we're going to use the red guy, and we're going to use this. And what I like doing usually as I'm working with different characters, so I'm going to show you something that's funny. Because it's the red guy, I try to make all the colors try to match up with it. So I'm going to move all the way down to red. That's one. That's white, so I don't care. I'm going to move that one towards the reds. I'll move this one towards red also. And we need to fix his outline. That stroke, I'm just gonna move it towards red also. So what I'm just doing is reddening up the whole thing, so it all is red. Because red is talking about it. So that's one of the things I like doing too. I'm gonna show you how you do this. So first thing is we already have a balloon that when red is speaking, this is how his balloons look. So we're gonna go to balloon. We're gonna select that. This is how this program works. So whatever I last select, that's going to be the last color stuff it remembers. Like if I select this, if I select this before I go, next balloon I make is gonna be using this color and that outline. And that's not what I want. So I go to balloons, I select the red balloon. That's exactly in red words. I'll do this. I'll do controls, Command C, Control Command V. That's just me being lazy. I could have just done this on my own too. So this is one of the ways you can cut a balloon. Like you cut it by the edges of the border. You don't want it to go out. And I usually do that when the colors doesn't match the gutter exactly. I'll do a cut off this way. This makes more sense to me instead of trying to bleed it into the gutter, which won't make as much sense. I'll go back to balloon. Okie dokie. So how do you do you? What you would do is you would select the word. You would hit Control or Command C. You go into the knockout layer. Shift Command V. Place the balloon again. And then what you just do is you increase its border. Right? The thing is, the border needs to be the same color as the background of the balloon itself. So you're gonna go stroke, you're gonna pick this, and you're gonna pick that color. There you go. So you're halfway done. So you're like, wow, that looks weird. So the next thing I do is I'm gonna select this knockout layer that this hue I created in knockout. I'm gonna hit Command C. Then I'm going to go into balloons. Shift Command V. Now I made that like 20. So I'm gonna pop this up to 22. And then I'm gonna change it back to the color of the outline of all of the balloons. And that's gonna be black. 20 is not enough. So I'm going to, there you go. So that's what I just did with that. Now I need to connect these two balloons and I need to fill in the bottom, the O too, because it looks kind of weird. I'm gonna select this again. I'm gonna pick here. That's a little bit biggish. Then I'm gonna create another circle or another oval. And I can mess around with it. What I want this oval to do is I actually want it to connect with the other balloons that are there, because I don't want it to be just free floating. And the reason I did it this way is I just want the U to stick out more. I want it just to stick out so you can see the outline of it too. It's the only reason why you're seeing it the way it looks. So now, the next thing that needs to happen too is every balloon needs to be in front of you. So there's something called arrange. I can bring everything forward. Literally everything in these layers are stacked on top of each other. So you can see that they're connected now. And what I just have to do is, to finish this off, select, union, select, union. So now that's one giant word balloon. And then same thing we did before. The funny thing is the hue didn't come out as well as I hoped for. But it's just to give you an idea of how it would be done. So what I'm going to do is green. I'm going to make him yell out die. Yeah, die comes out better. So what we're going to do is do that path here. That's fine with me. I'll use this again. I'm going to make green have a colorful vocabulary, and it's going to yell, "You die!" And that's it. So that's a thing you can do. So that's you. So now green is going to answer the call. We're going to go into here. Whoops. Yay. It's going to be like an extreme close-up of green. Because green ain't playing no more. And so I can, to clean this up, this is like one of the cool things. This is how subtract works. So I create a box over here. And I select both the box and what I have here. Not you, you doofus. This, and that. I hit subtract. Really though? Then I gotta do it one at a time. Subtract. That's one. Let's do the green box now. So I'm gonna do select again, subtract. Really? Subtract. And the last part of that green box, I'm gonna get rid of it. Subtract. So now I just have green. And I'm just gonna show you, green has one where I can actually make it bleed out into the stuff too. I'm gonna use U die, U, and I'm gonna use die. And since it's already set up for green, I'm gonna keep U in the bubble, but I'm gonna have die flow out of it. And I'm gonna make the bubble go into the gutter. You die! Yeah, this green's like very eloquent. So maybe a little smaller. So here's what we're gonna do. Now we know what green's bubbles look like. This is funny. It's because I actually took the gutters and I put them on top of the balloons. Where I usually do this, the balloons are on top of the gutters. So you can see that. So what I was gonna, if it's like this and I don't want that to happen, I want to keep everything in space. Same thing you saw before. I just go over it this way, select, and then I do this, and then I go back to here and do a subtract. Same thing again. But this time I'm actually cutting the balloon because it's on top of the gutters. So I do here again, and I do shift, get these two, and then I just do subtract, and there you go. Same thing. But this one is actually, the balloon's actually cut. So if I got rid of the gutters, the balloon would still be cut. So that's one way you can get it done, right? Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back into balloons again. I'm going to select my man here, and we're going to do a circle. I want you to be inside this circle. Whoops, Control Z. If you see your stuff that way, let's see why. That means I'm not in words here. Let me see if I can do this. Yep, that's not there. That's not there. Let me check gutters. It's not there. It's in the background. Explains everything. And let's bring back words. So I gotta go to the background, select shift, Command X. Go to Word, Shift Command V. Go back to balloons. Control Z. All right. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a balloon around this guy. I don't want you coming out because, like I said, you does these weird shapes that I don't expect to see. So I'm not a big fan of them. So I'm going to leave them inside the bubble this time. I don't like the way it came out. Like I think the last time I did the U die, I think the U was just the U was just the bottom was coming out, which is actually kind of cool. The top of the U, looks pinky. I don't like the way it looks. Those Y's don't look sexy outside of their balloon. So what I'm going to show you is the one that when you bleed the panel into the gutter to make it look like cramped and like there's space for it. Same tricks that you saw that I did here. I just need to copy that, Control C. I mean Command C, Shift Command V. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to pump up the border. Let's do 9. 9 is fine. Stroke, since I know it's white, pretty easy to fix. Wait, make sure you select it and go back to stroke. Push the stroke to white. Now that I have that, I can do Control Command C, Shift Command V. I can pump this up 1, 2, 3. Change that back to black. And there you go. Now you die. Next thing I'm going to do again. This is going to look a lot better because the other one just did not. We go back into the balloon. We do a little balloon that goes on top of here. Actually, I don't even need that. What needs to happen, this balloon, arrange, bring to front. There you go. Now it's all connected. And if I want to make this a little bit more dramatic, I select this one, go to about 15, 16, go to knockout, make this one about 13. There you go. And if I want to make it look a little bit more meaningful, I just take my balloon, move it a little bit closer. Take my word U, move it a little bit closer. Then all I'll do is add one more balloon because I want that balloon to be where I make the word bubble pop out of. So I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to select. It's easier to have the words come out of a balloon or an oval than it is to sometimes come out of these strange shapes, these irregular shapes that you have here. So we're going to move that up a little bit. So we do that. So you die. What I'm going to just do is I'm going to add in my curve. You're going to join. We're going to do here. So one of the things you'll see if you see I letter something, you'll see a lot of this. I just like doing this a lot. I like every once in a while have words popping out of the stuff. Sometimes when a person yell, ah, rah, or something, you actually have them do something like that. I think I'm gonna do one more panel with these two dudes, these square heads, green and red. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take this one right here and we're gonna union. So these two guys are really mad at each other and they're not pleased at all. So we're gonna make this a little smaller. And I usually like using this tool instead. So now you have green proclaiming you die after this guy yelled test. It's quick brown over the lazy dog, you die. So this is our friends talking at each other. So if you were reading it, I think you actually read it like this, and then you read from top to the bottom, even though it's not going from left to right. Because the last thing the person says is usually where the carrot comes out. It just depends on how you see the placement is. So you know conversation's happening this way. You probably read it this way from top to bottom, right to left, because it probably make a little bit more sense. Depends if I have real dialogue, I could actually tell you if I was right about that, but to me, that probably might be what's going to happen. The last thing I wanted to do with these two is make them like come running at each other. So I'm going to take both green and red one more time. I'm going to bring these two boys in here. But this is what I'm talking about. Like, look how silly these two characters look comparatively to most things you'll see drawn in a comic book. But just based on the font and the text that I'm using, this kind of looks like a comic book still, even though this is like so basic. Like that's not amazing art. This is not art that you're like, oh my God, I have to buy. I'm going to buy this. I have to read this book. But it does look kind of powerful in the sense where the words that are being said or the words that are being presented makes it look a little bit more exciting, even though it's just a really simple art. So that's what I'm saying. Like, lettering can make a book still look pretty impressive, even if the art is not maybe the greatest in some people's opinion, or subjectively it's not a person's favorite style. The same way, like if a story is really good, you could sometimes even overlook the art. If the lettering and the story is really good, you can actually still say, nah, I'm gonna read this versus not. And I think that's what a lot of people miss at times. Lettering is, I think, one of the more important parts in the process. And sometimes it's weird though. You don't know how undervalued it is by most people. Most people don't value it as something that they should pay for. Oh, I could just use this program. But I used to letter using Comic Life, but Comic Life you can't do 2/3 of what I'm doing here. You can't do in Comic Life. I mean, you wouldn't be able to do this call out die. You can't do these special effect looking stuff exactly that way. You can't do any of that. So as decent as Comic Life is, like if you don't want to pay for somebody and you want to do it pretty quick, there's a lot of stuff you can't do. You can't do special effects, control them the way I can. You can't do a lot of that stuff. So, and you can't create like brand new stuff too. So it's one of those things, like I tell folks, some people will be like, nah, this is the way I want to do it, but doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the best results. Because it's very limiting to me. Some of the stuff I wanted to do, I just could not pull off with Comic Life. I'm going to do a subtract here. And this is why this is such a cool way to draw or design stuff, because of the way I can use the tool to keep things inside or outside of a panel. This is also a good program you can use to learn to draw things, like by tracing actual drawings. I actually have something on YouTube, and I even have it on Facebook here too, where I was copying a cheat in this program. So a lot of people say they can't draw. This is one of those ways you can actually learn to draw. I'm just going to add in two of my favorites. Where are you, Ra? There it is. Ra! Okay, Ra is one of my favorites. We'll give this to red. And they're yelling at each other. There's another one. Probably, nah, rah, nah. And they're just yelling at each other, coming to jump. So I'll give him nah. Nah. And to make the next panel funny, save me some time. That's gonna move to crush. And what you could do is final panels. Get these guys out of the way. Let me see if I can, do I have them in V? Yeah, I do. So final panel for these two. Bring them down here. So like I said, this is just more for an exercise. Again, I didn't want to draw anything. But this gives you an idea of what you can do. With positioning of characters. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna have them like lying on the floor. And we're gonna say he's a little bit more to the front. So they both got knocked out after crashing into each other. I'm gonna take all the text and move to the text layer. Command exit, Shift Control V it. And you'll see I can also manipulate. So this is a crash layer. I'm gonna increase the that's a bit too much. 5 is a bit much. 3 will do it. And we'll make this into a box below it that is nice, but we're not going to use the same color. I'm going to use in some of the styles that are preset. Actually, it's in here. Styles. Oh, I never fixed this panel. What I want to show you with knockouts. If you notice that this is floating over here, I don't want them. I want to get this to look like it's out of the panel. Really simple step. You select. You go into. Oh, you bad boys. I'll take the balloons real quick, select that, and then I'll go back to knockout. And what I'll do is I'll draw a square, and I'll do another one right here. This square is gonna move over a little bit. This one's too wide. So what we're gonna do is no border. So now I know what I want to do. Pull down this way. Yay! Same thing here. No border. Same thing. Gotta fix it. Pull down this way. So that's one of the things you can do too. So instead of it being cut by the border, you can make it like it's open up to the panel. So that's another trick you can do with it. So it doesn't look as crowded. There's more space and the words are kind of breaking out of the panel. Again, a little lazy, don't want to really do everything from scratch. I will copy this one and say copy style, and I'm going to paste the style. Boop. Easy peasy, lemon squeeze. And then our two characters are now knocked out on the floor because they just crashed into each other after they charged each other in their raw attack. And what we're going to do is we're just going to again go into the so red is in, and what I can do with I could either erg them here's my UG. I can so we can well, I'm like he got hit hard. How the mighty have fallen. He's a little bit further away in positioning. And just to keep it consistent, I'm just going to copy. Actually, let me paste the style. There you go. I guess you die was fighting words for red. So this is why our two characters decided that they were going to charge each other. Avenger style and didn't work out too well. So this is where Ra is going to be. We're going to pick this one. But nah. So these two guys are set to go. Same thing that I did before. So I need to select. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do balloons too. I'm gonna take care of this one down here too. But this time I'm gonna get those words inside the balloon. So I don't have to waste too much time with Control C, Control V. All right, problems up. All right, last part. Back to words. Dropping them into knockout. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So what we're going to do is we're going to Command C that. We're going to go into balloon, Shift Control V. Up that to 13. We're going to go back to the knockout layer. For our friend here, stroke becomes white. For our friend here, stroke becomes this color. And we go back to balloons. Bring to front. Now we just need these. There you go. That you need. Now all I have to do is curve that up a little bit. Ah, nah! All right, you see it? Easy peasy. So Alt. And like I said, that's gonna be an hour and that's 80 minutes. So I'm gonna be wrapping up pretty quick. This is pretty much all I have left to do. But this gives you an idea of just some of the stuff. And the only reason I did this too, I'm actually in lettering mode right now because I'm actually lettering Real Comic Showcase 3. So I'm in lettering mode. I decided, you know, maybe I can just show folks a little bit of the lettering stuff. Because I don't think I've done this in a while. Show people like what are some of the concepts that we use in lettering. So you get to see, again, red block guy and green block guy going at each other. I created a pretty decent little like back and forth flow with a blue background and nothing else. It's like there's really not much happening here, but you get to see an idea of how lettering can affect the page. It looks pretty impressive for something that is so simple, with such simple characters. This is what I usually am talking about when I say like lettering can affect the story. It's nonsense. It's not really any real words, but they look pretty good. So I'm just gonna paste it up, and I'm probably gonna put a link to the YouTube to the YouTube also. So I'm gonna post this in YouTube. I'll share this also in probably in Facebook, but I haven't posted my YouTube channel in a while, so I actually wanted to create some content for it. I usually do the Facebook stuff because it's a lot easier to work with, setting up, and the stream I like. It's a lot cleaner on Facebook than it is to me on YouTube, so this is a lot simpler. So what you can see is I'm just using the arc tools to set up the tails of the balloons. I think I screwed up here. Yeah, that back here. Okay, that's it. So what we're gonna do is we'll fix it by just doing this and doing this. Like I said, there's no real story because they're just saying quick brown fox jump over the lazy dog, and this is a test. And I wrote this is a test, so funny stuff like that. Union, and the program I'm using is Autodesk Graphics, but this can also be done in Adobe Illustrator. It can also be done in Affinity Designer. Those are other programs you could use. Free Inkscape is another program you can use to do something like that. I don't really know any other programs besides that. There's a lot of vector-based programs. I still find Graphics, which was originally a program called iDrawer that I got, that I've been using. That's why you'll see every file is called iDrawer when you generate it with this. But this is a quick idea of what you can do with lettering, which not even real art, just boxes with two different colors. Not even a real script, just layout of words. But it can give you an idea of how you can actually, what pages would look like. I showed also how you create these balloons. The whole idea of how I do my balloons is 3 layers. So you have your word layer, you'll have your knockout layer, and then you have your balloon layer. So if you notice that all of these is done through knockouts, the knockout is what gives you the white background, and then the words are what basically sits inside. So it's a really simple process. Like I said, it didn't work out so well with you, not so cool. I don't know why this happens too. If you look at it, it should be a triangle. So what the hell is that? Like, I don't understand what's going on with it. Like, why it does that. Let me see if I can just reduce it a little bit. It might look better if I just reduce the knockout a little bit more, because it keeps happening. Maybe I went a little bit too big. Yeah, a little too big. I still don't get why it's still not perfectly straight. It should be straight though. So that's down to 13. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the balloon here too. Take that U. Whoops. Take that U and bring it down to 15. Yeah. So same concept. It's just like I said, that Y is always problematic. I don't know what the heck about its corners that makes that happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post this out too. My process is I do everything at 300 dpi, or I just do this at normal resolution, 7 by 10.5, and then when I'm going to export it, I export at 300 dpi. So it becomes, instead of the resolution I was using, which is a lot smaller, it comes out to 2100 by 3150, which is actually really good. And if you're using that for something like Callouts, you're gonna have a really good looking, it's gonna be good size, and when it prints down, it's gonna look pretty decent. So this is what we call it, lettering. Toot. Toot, I guess. I'm gonna have a lettering tutorial somewhere. Or I could just call this red versus green. I have no idea what this is. I'm saying it as red versus green. That's gonna get it out of, yeah, it gotta get out of here. I gotta take it out of that too. Let's click graphic file. This would be red V green. Red V green. And I was too letter. Lettering EX. That's a lettering example. You die. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. What I'm gonna do is, like I said, once I finish the cast, I'm gonna probably download it down and I'm gonna post it up onto YouTube. I'll probably put links to the YouTube instead. So that's pretty much it. Let me see something. Do I have this thing right? Screen mirroring. Jiminy Christmas is not here. Let me run one thing. Spotlight. This is Air Server. That's what yeah, I don't really connect my iPad to the computer anymore. I just do Air Server. Did it start? Oh, yes. Let's try that one more time. Yes, I've known I've used this just recently, so there it is. Jiminy Christmas. So I bought this app ages ago, but I think there's also a version you can use, something called, I have to look it up again. There's a free thing to use if you don't want to pay for it. It's like $20, so $20 ain't that much. We go to here. So just look in gallery. So this is Real Comic Showcase 3. One thing I noticed is when I was working on this, I forgot to put the teleportation effect. So I'm letting it and I'm like, are you kidding me? So I had to go back and add that effect. And then I also highlighted it again inside the lettering, inside graphics, because it was kind of frustrating that it wasn't there. But these are the pages. You can see what I mean by, you see how crooked these lines are? Because these are freehand. And I'm not really being careful about how I draw my letters. You can see it here too. I'm not very careful. So I'm not being as careful at all. But when you look at it on here, see how clean the gutters are? Just to give you an example, to show it, I'm going to try to do it like myself. So you can see crooked, 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 not straight. And this is why I bring it into graphics. I actually straighten everything out, chop off more of the picture if I have to, just to make sure that we have a clean border. And I'm going to letter inside here instead. If I miss any effects or something that I don't see, I can actually sit inside graphics and add the effects. That happened on page 1. It's supposed to be a bubble around Dragon's Fire. I forgot to do it. I put it in lettering. So that's the cool thing. Also, when I first did Real Comic Showcase number 2, this is kind of funny. I found out from Eric Legg Sr. Every shot I did with Nightfire, I did in the book. I think his eyes had to be white. So I had to go back. Everything I'm lettering, I'm like fixing it, adding whites of his eyes. This is Hummingbird, the original design of Hero Machine, and my second design. I based her second design a little bit. I wasped her up a little bit. So I was looking at the wasp when I was thinking of the design I was designing for her. I actually want to use this character probably with some of my comic books next, Anthony, for permission, but I'd like to use her because it's kind of cool that a lot of these characters are floating around. It will be kind of fun to be able to throw them into your universe or make them from Anthony's universe. But in my world, this is one of the things I'm keeping from Powerverse, which I kind of like the idea. People are jumping in between comic universes to do stuff, come to steal things, to get something, come to take somebody out, so on and so forth. So I'm going to keep that. Like I thought, that's what was the fun part of having a shared thing like the Powerverse originally. Even though I can't do it, we're not doing it through Powerverse, but I'm still keeping the idea of different dimensions, different worlds, and people coming and going in between each other. So to me, it's logical. And yeah, this is what I was talking about. This was General Grievous's original design. And if you look at it, he is reminds me a little Iron Man-ish with one of the They Live characters, like faces, like it was supposed to be mechanical. So I created this. One of the things to make him alien, if you'll notice this, he only has 4 fingers. So that's why if you look at every drawing I do of General Merciless, it's exactly 4 fingers. Thumb, 3 fingers in the hand. So you can tell that he's from somewhere else. He's not like us. He's different. And I'm kind of messed up his hair. He's actually supposed to have like almost no hair at the side, but whatever. I'm getting a little bit better at drawing these characters too. This was decent. Looking back at it right now, I could probably redraw this book better. But what's kind of cool too, Anthony has the proofs of it, which is actually pretty neat. I'm doing a Captain Jamaica book because I was drawing Captain Jamaica in this comic. I was just like, yeah, man, I don't know why. I love drawing this dude. So I asked the creator, James Bethel, the creator of Z Luna, like, yeah, if he wants to do a book, yeah, I wouldn't mind doing a Captain Jamaica book. So these are a lot of the scenes. Like I said, it came out pretty good. I'm pretty impressed by the amount of time it took. This took about 3 months to do. That was a completely lettered and drawn book. It took about 3 months, and it only took as long as it did because I was fixing something on the original book also. I was playing around with a lot of other stuff simultaneously. So Captain Jamaica, if you just get an idea, these are characters from Captain Jamaica. It's a character I created, Embrace. Captain Jamaica, like I told you, I like drawing this dude. And this is what I got so far. Yep. So I'm getting there. And like I told you, backgrounds, nah, man, I'm not drawing this from scratch. I'm not doing this from my hand. That's just not gonna happen. Yeah, there's so many. You can use a stock picture real quick, ink the heck out of it, take what you want. What happens too is I don't use the backgrounds of the pictures verbatim. Sometimes I need to do certain things. I need to change certain things in them, so to make them a little bit different. I want to represent something that may not be there. So that's one of the things I did. My older brother pointed something out to me about the waste of characters based on perspective. For some bizarre reason, I had Miss Durenay. She's her hips and the people in the background didn't match. When I originally drew the picture, I had Captain Jamaica. He was much lower in the picture. What's kind of cool is since I can manipulate my layers simultaneously, I was able to just move him up, and I moved my mask up also. So I was able to just move him up in the picture and match up his hip, his waistline with everybody else in the picture. And when I looked at it, I was like, holy crap, he's right. It kind of looks better. So it's a pretty neat thing that he showed me. I think you can see it through, if I do the time lapse, I think you can see it there. So this is what I was trying to do. I originally was trying to build the background. I was going to do an angled shot. And I just didn't, when I was trying to make it like look like a completely busy market, I was gonna have this angle. I was gonna take an angle, and then I just dropped it, and I went for that. So if you look, his waist and the waist of the people in the background, they're not in the same position. So like I said, this is kind of what I use. The people, shapes, I kind of use everything you can see there. I didn't want the railing on top. I didn't want the exact building in the back, so I changed that building. I used some of it, but not all of it. So that's the difference of the shot. I manipulated it to fit what I wanted to do. So it's going to increase pass. So I manipulated each of the shots. I don't use exactly. Like there's supposed to be an awning over him too. I didn't care about the awning. So what you're going to see is I'm going to finish inking. This is weird. Yeah, so you see I actually pushed him up. Let me see if I can actually find that part. So this is where he was positioned. Yeah, I actually picked it off too. So you see, he was this low, and I put him here. He's actually more in perspective this way. He's a little bit out of perspective this way. He's more in perspective here. So that's one of the changes that I did. It's actually kind of cool. It's older brother is kind of like the guy who taught me a lot on how to draw and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things that I can do, or I know how to do, is because of him. Even in my own books, I'll just show you something real quick too. So this is in the Rush. Yeah, I'm doing flats because these are full colored pages, completely fully colored. Here I'm just flatting out the pages, laying out the colors. I don't know, like back when I first started this process, you see really hard. Like I'm like, how am I gonna do all this? I'm gonna flat my pictures now super quick. Like I did this really, really fast, which was kind of surprising to me. But back in the day, this would have been nightmarish. To me, these are the hard panels because there's so many people here. So I'm gonna have to fix that. Like instead of killing myself with the buildings, I just found 3 or 4 colors of buildings and I just use them. I'm gonna do the same thing in the background over here too. And then here and then here. So once I get these guys colored, once I have their colors done solid here, which I already have, I'm gonna be done with it. It'll be a lot easier. And then these are all the stuff I'm laying. But what I like showing is this is like I always wanted to change this panel. The thing I had in the panel before was just whack. This is a much better panel. This panel, my brother just drew some set of the perspective for me. Just drew a rough body of the characters, and then I came up with this new version. So if you again, if I was to go through time lapse real quick, I'm not sure why they're yelling so loud, but go through time lapse real quick. So this is what I originally had, and I just left that there and did this real quick because I'm like, yo, I need a placeholder. And as I drew it, as I'm looking at it, and as I was making the panel, I'm like, I really hate this panel. I hate it. I hate it really bad. And then I do the background. This is what it used to look like, and I'm just like, that is just all kinds of trash. So this is what my brother did for me. He laid out, you see the way the bodies are right there? So that's what my brother laid out for me. I did that too. I did this change. No, actually, he laid that out. So that's his layout. This is all he did for me. And then from there, I did that. And I made the characters a little bit bigger. And it became that. And I just messed around with my perspective. But so you can see, this is what I actually had him do for me. I wanted a better angle than the up front one, the front angle that I had. So he did a 3/4 top for me, 3/4 top going downward perspective, and this is what it became. And it's a much better shot. And yeah, like I told you, no way in hell I'm drawing backgrounds from scratch. So I take pieces of buildings that I like, And then with the magic of copy paste, I'm not drawing 10 windows. And as I went through it, I kept on refining the windows and straightening them. And you can see that the windows get better and better. And then I keep showing people, yeah, it was this versus that. Because the bottom and the top, the other two panels, I didn't mind that much. I thought they were decent. It's just that top panel was all kind of trash. And I really didn't like it. Same thing with this one. Let's give you a quick idea of what it looked like before. There's a lot of action. But one of the things I wanted to do too in the second issue is I wanted to do more action scenes, more things happening. Besides all the talking, I wanted to do some kind of action going on. Yeah. Just to give you an idea, with time lapse. So you can see that there was no transfer. The transformation was supposed to happen in the middle. Like I have no idea what I was. So literally order panels. So that's Blue Jay getting tackled. Speed up a little bit too. So this is what I was gonna do with it. So I switched the order of the panels. Golden, I'm gonna do this, and then he transforms. So this is what the panel was gonna look like. His clothes ripping off him, and I was just like, yeah, this is gonna be great. Then I had this idea. I saw Billy Bastion transforming into Shazam. I'm like, no, that makes a little bit more sense. So I took the pose, I took the outline, and then I created this with it instead. There you go. That's a much better pose. So that's the idea of like what I create with it. And it's a superhero thing. We transform into different things. You don't necessarily have to know what happens to the clothes. The clothes just go away. He's a super powerful psychic. Whatever. I don't care. Like, I'm not even wasting time trying to figure it out. I don't know how many X-Men cartoons where their clothes just materializes, their suit comes out of them, that I'm like, I don't really care. So I'm not even worrying about that. But yeah, I'm getting there. Once I finish coloring the first 12 pages, I gotta bring all the text back in. I'm reducing the size of the font, so I think I'll be able to get things on the page a little bit cleaner, and that's gonna look a lot better. So that's gonna be kind of cool. Also, I'm changing the font. I was using Crime Fighter as my font, and Crime Fighter is a pain in the ass. Like, it's a very large font horizontally. It's kind of long. The periods look like dashes. They're so long. So I don't like that. And I've been using for lettering, even in that little exercise that I just did. You'll see in here, even for lettering, I've been using this font a lot more, and it just works out a lot better. I might use different fonts for location. My favorite one to tell you the location of what area you're at. I usually use Government Agent, but that's what I'm saying. It's like this a bunch of fonts that I'm just used to do what I want to do, and that's how I've been working with it. As you can see, quick lettering example how it's going to work. Showed you some stuff that I'm also working on, but that should basically be it for this. Yeah, it's about an hour 44 minutes. I'm going to end this once the video is up. I'm going to also put it on YouTube. I'll link to the YouTube channel with this just so I can bring in some new information there. But again, this is me using the program Graphics. I'll show you Affinity Designer. There's a few things that Affinity can do that Graphics can't do that I kind of like. That's why I'm creating a source book for the Blue Jay and the Rush universe. I'm building it all in Affinity Designer. Even the cover for this book was also done in Affinity. Affinity Designer is actually, you can do something like wrap words around the characters. This was something I saw Vince White do in Photoshop. And I couldn't figure out how to do an Infinity Photo, but I know Infinity Designer, there's a way to pull it off. But the coolest program they have for that, I believe, is Infinity Publisher or some Infinity something else. I don't remember what it's called. But they have three programs that is comparable to whatever you can do in Adobe. Designer is the Illustrator equivalent. Photo is the Photoshop equivalent. And I can't remember what the third one is called. But if you go to the site, you can see it. But it's one to help you publish publish books and stuff like that. But Affinity Designer can do exactly what I want for now. Some of the greater features where you outline a drawing, like you scan a picture in and then it outlines it for you, so you can like do a quick ink. Affinity Designer, they're working on putting that into. But like I said, it's a much more cost-effective program. So file, recent. So I'll show you two things that I did. So this is tack, the tack cover. What's kind of cool is I learned a few tricks in Affinity Designer that I can actually apply back in graphics. But Affinity Designer makes these things happen a lot quicker. The tutorials are really nice too. Like, I mean, I found a tutorial I follow online. It took about 15, 16 minutes to follow the tutorial. And I had to go back a few times so I didn't catch some of the stuff that he was showing. But it helped me create a logo for this document. So that was actually pretty nice. And sometime between now and tomorrow, it'll finish loading. But like I said, a lot of the tools that you see, it has flip horizontal, it has union, subtract, exclude. It has everything that I was using in graphics is there also. So that's one of the things that makes that really nice. So this is tack. This whole logo that you see here, this 3D logo, was designed on Tactical Assessment Catalog. That was designed in Affinity Designer. This is a drawing I did. This stuff down here, I just took them from graphics. I actually built this in graphics and I just changed it into a picture because it was easier to manipulate. Instead of trying to import the vectors, I just bought it as a picture. So Brush Universe, you can see its source book, so it's really kind of cool. It came out really nice, and this is Trek. A buddy did a picture of Trek, so cool. Damien Walburn did a picture of Trek that was so cool that she's actually in the book. Originally, she wasn't going to be in it. I'm kind of throw her in it. I'm giving her her own space. She should be coming out in the Omniversal Team Up book. That's going to be her first appearance as a character with lines and using her power and all that other fun stuff. So that's what I did with that, and I'm just going to show you the other thing. This is the book itself. What's kind of cool about Affinity Design, I can lay out the whole book in one shot. So there's the cover. Oh, really? A font is missing. And then you can see the Blue Jay page itself. So what you can see is I actually have an outline. You see the words are outlined going around Blue Jay's body. That's something I can't do in graphics. That's something you can do in Photoshop, and that's something you can pull off in Illustrator. And that's what I wanted to do with it. I still got to finish the bottom here, the power level, and write it out. I might just do them in colors because the power levels go, it's basically the colors of the rainbow. That's how I did the power level rating. And what I'm trying to do with this book is I want to create for every character that you're seeing. I want to do a front view, side view, back view. So it's not just the reason I call it the Rush Universe source book. It's not just the information about the character's powers. I also want to give you references for when you want to draw the character. So you know what the character looks like coming, you know what the character looks like going. and how this suit is designed and what you want to do to make the design work for you too. Like, here's something funny. The 3 on the bottom down there, if you look at the blue jay up here, this final blue jay is correct. This one is incorrect. So I'm gonna actually have to go fix this before I put this back. I'm gonna have to redo these and put it back in the book with the way you see the cut is happening up here. This is wrong. This is right. So I gotta fix that before. But you can see the helm. You can see a lot of the stuff, which is kind of cool. All that is on 100% correct. So yeah, and this is based on me drawing it. So again, there's certain little details that I do that I don't expect anybody to do. See these lines around here, around his eyes? You never have to draw them. You don't even have to draw his eye hole here. All you have to just do is draw the yellow dot of his eye and then just make this black. That would be the fastest way for somebody else to draw it. I might start doing some of those for people just so they can see it. But again, when I draw it, I have a level of detail that I want in it and certain things I'm always showing, which is not necessary for anybody else to do. It's just me. That's something I like to do. I don't want people to think that, oh my God, if I didn't do that, it's not correct, or trying to figure out how to pull it off. Because if you look at it from far away, yeah, it really just looks like it's, yeah, I'm just a maniac. I actually didn't know these drawings. The body that I'm using here was given to me or created for by my brother. So all I have to do is I have to go in here and fix all of that. All of this has to be fixed, and then this would be right. But what I said, like I said, I wanted it to be a reference also for people who want to draw the characters, so they know how they look: front view, side view, back view, without like capes. And that's pretty much it. Oh, I am so tired. All right, there's a bunch of stuff I'm going to be watching today, but I wanted to do this stuff before, and I'm ending this video right here. So thanks for watching again. I'm going to be posting this. This video is going to be up also. You can see the whole process of how I created this lettering, and what, like I'm always saying too, lettering is really important. It can make even the most simplest stuff looks kind of exciting, even though it's just a bunch of blocks saying nonsense at each other. But you get an idea of a story of what's going on because of you, and you die, crash, and they're just knocked down. So there's a story here, even though it's just blocks. But that's pretty much it. And y'all, thanks for watching. Keep your eyes, your ears, and your minds open. And until next time, peace out. I'm going to also start trying to do my, oh my God, like I start trying to do my podcast again, which I haven't done in a while. I'm going to try to see if I can get that going again. Rodney's rants. I got to even check to see how they've been doing, because I haven't been pushing them. I haven't even been looking. But I have some rants to do, which I think will be kind of cool. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Maybe later tonight might be on. I might be doing some coloring. I'm almost done lettering the books, and I'm gonna start doing more art for Captain Jamaica, and I'm gonna do some more art for the comic showcase, because I got only 9 pages to go on that, and then I got to do my 6-page story, and I'm gonna try to set up something for a little bit of a Who's Who or Marvel Universe type setup in the background for the characters that are in the book, the first 5 that everyone saw. All right, so everyone have a good one. I'm out.